we will explore all the buttons on this remote and explain their functions to you. The first button is the on-off button, which you can see is a yellow-colored on-off button. If the unit has power, you can use this button to turn the unit on or off. Now, let's talk about the mode button. First, you need to turn on the unit using the remote. As you can see on the remote display, a set temperature appears, showing 20 degrees below, and the auto option is also displayed above. Let me explain what the auto mark means and how it functions. With the set temperature at 20 degrees, the unit will automatically decide whether to cool, switch to fan mode, or heat, depending on the weather conditions. It will operate according to the set temperature. If you wish, you can change the set temperature and then switch it to auto mode. In this auto mode, you cannot control the fan speed, as it will remain in automatic mode as well. Now, let's talk about the next function, which is also accessed through the mode button. When you press the mode button, you will see the cool option appear. This will allow the unit to cool the room according to your set temperature. You can adjust the temperature, set a timer, change the fan speed, use the sleep function, and even switch to turbo mode. In other words, the cool mode offers many features, which I will explain to you step by step as we proceed. In cooling mode, keep in mind that if the room temperature is already at 16 degrees, meaning the environment is already cool, the unit won't operate in cooling mode. What will happen is that the indoor unit may function, but the outdoor unit will not work at all until there's a 2-degree difference. If the temperature is 18 degrees, the unit will cool the room down to 16 degrees. Otherwise, it won't operate. Similarly, there is another function in the mode section, which I will show you now. This is the dry function. In the dry mode, you can adjust the temperature according to your needs. What happens here is that the room will start to dehumidify, removing any excess moisture from the air. This function is useful for reducing humidity in the room. However, the fan will remain on auto speed in this mode, and you won't be able to control its speed manually. If you want to heat the room, you need to press the mode button until the heating mode is activated. You will see the heating symbol appear on the display. In this mode, you can also use several other features, which I will explain step by step. It's important to note that if the room is already warm, with a temperature of 30 degrees or higher, for example, 31 or 32 degrees, the unit will not operate in heating mode. The indoor unit may run, but the outdoor unit will not start until there is a 2 to 3 degree difference. For instance, if the room temperature is 27 degrees and the set temperature is 30 degrees, the unit will operate, and the outdoor unit will provide warm air. When we press the mode button for the 4th time, the unit will switch to fan mode. In this mode, only the fan will run, and the unit will simply circulate air without activating any other functions. You can adjust the speed of the fan motor or blower as needed, increasing or decreasing it. You can also set it to auto mode, just as I am doing here. Now, let's discuss the multifunctional 2 keys, which you can see as up and down arrows. Let me explain their functions. Normally, these keys are used to adjust the temperature. When you press the up arrow, the temperature increases, for example, to 26 degrees, and when you press the down arrow, the temperature decreases. In addition to adjusting the temperature, these keys are also used to set the timer. To increase the time, press the up arrow, and to decrease it, press the down arrow. This is the second function of these keys. Now, let's talk about another function of these 2 keys. On the remote display, you might see the temperature set in Fahrenheit, such as 66 Fahrenheit. This sometimes confuses some people, as they don't use Fahrenheit a lot. Fahrenheit is widely used in the United States. To switch from Fahrenheit to Celsius, press both the up and down arrow keys simultaneously. You will see the temperature will change from 69 degrees Fahrenheit to 20 degrees Celsius. Now, let's talk about saving electricity. You can reduce your electricity bill using the remote, and this is possible with the help of a feature in cooling mode. This system is only available in cooling mode, and no other mode will provide this function. To activate it, first set the unit to cooling mode. Then, you will find a button for Eco Gear, which has 2 functions. By pressing this Eco Gear button, you can activate this energy-saving feature. Once you press the Eco Gear button, you will see the Eco symbol on the display, and the temperature will be set to 24 degrees Celsius, with the fan in auto mode. If you want more cooling or wish to lower the temperature further, the Eco function will be disabled and the unit will return to its normal operation. In this case, the unit will only operate effectively up to 24 degrees Celsius in Eco mode. The next function is the gear function. To activate this, you need to press the button twice. Once you do, the display will show gear 75%. This means that you can set the unit to any temperature, and it will help save electricity by working at 75% efficiency. However, it's important to note that the temperature shown on the unit display may differ slightly from the set temperature, and it may take a little longer for the unit to cool the room. So, you will need to wait for it to reach the desired temperature. You can adjust this setting as well, for example, to 50%, so the unit will work at a higher speed for cooling. However, the efficiency still depends on the room temperature and how much cooling is required. Now, let's talk about functions that allow us to automatically switch the unit on and off. As you can see, the unit is currently in cooling mode, which means this function can be applied in all modes. By using this function, we can save a significant amount of electricity. I know that many people may be familiar with this function, but might not have used it, possibly because they don't understand its logic. So, let's first discuss the logic behind why you should use this function to save electricity. So, if you're sitting in your room and suddenly you need to leave urgently for 4 to 5 hours, you might find the room either too cold or too hot when you return. You may want the room to remain at the same temperature when you get back. In such situations, people often leave the unit on to maintain the temperature. However, the unit continues running while you're away, leading to unnecessary energy consumption, and your electricity bill increases. To save this energy wastage, the company has included a timer function. By using this timer, you can control the unit's operation and prevent it from running unnecessarily when you're not around. When you leave for a few hours, you can set the timer to turn the unit on or off according to your preferences, which will result in a noticeable reduction in your electricity bill. Now, let's understand how to set the timer. When you press the timer button, the time display will appear, and you can start adjusting the time using the up and down arrow keys. As you press the up arrow, the time will increase. Initially, the time will change in half-hour increments, but once it reaches 10 hours, the increments will become 1 hour at a time. By using this function, you can set the timer for up to 24 hours. This allows you to control when the unit turns on and off, helping you manage energy use efficiently, especially when you're not around. Now, let's talk about how to use these functions because they have a specific method. But before that, I want to mention that the unit is currently set to cooling mode with a set temperature of 21 degrees and the fan speed is in auto mode. I'm telling you this so that when you turn off the unit, you'll know the previous settings. If you want the unit to turn on automatically before you arrive, the first step is to turn the unit off using the remote. After that, you'll be able to adjust the settings. However, keep in mind that you should not turn off the electricity completely. If the power goes out and then comes back, this function will be disabled. The electricity needs to be consistently on for this function to work. Next, press the timer button and set the time using the arrow keys. For example, if you know you'll be back in 5 hours, you can set the timer for 4 or 4.5 hours. Once you've set everything, you will see on displayed on the indoor unit, which means the unit is now in timer mode. At this point, you can leave without worry. To explain how this works, let's take an example. Suppose you're setting the timer and the current time is 2 p.m. The unit will turn on at 6:30 p.m. based on your settings, and in about half an hour, it will cool the room. When you return at 7 p.m., the room will be chilled and ready for you. To set the unit to turn off automatically, follow this method. First, make sure the unit is running. Then, press the timer button. Initially, you'll see on the display, followed by off. This means you want the unit to continue running and then automatically turn off after a set period. For example, if you want the unit to turn off after 1 hour, set it using the timer. You'll see off on the display, and after 1 hour, the unit will automatically turn off. This is how you can control the operation time to save energy. Additionally, you can combine both functions. If you want the unit to turn off and then automatically turn on again after a certain number of hours, you can do so. For example, you could set the unit to turn off after a few hours and then set it to turn on again after 3 hours. The unit will first turn off and then turn on again according to the timer you have set. This method helps you manage the unit's operation efficiently, ensuring it runs only when needed and saves energy when you're not around. The Set and OK buttons are key for adjusting advanced functions on your unit. When you press the Set button, it activates a series of functions that can be customized using the arrow keys. For example, you can navigate through options like sleep mode. Here's how to use them. 1. Press the Set button. This brings up a list of available functions, which will flash briefly. 2. Use the arrow keys. Navigate through the list to select the desired function, like sleep mode. 3. Press the OK button. Once the function is selected, press the OK button to confirm and activate it. Sleep function. What it does, when sleep mode is activated, the unit goes into silent mode, reducing noise levels for sensitive sleepers. Additionally, the cooling will gradually decrease over time. Instead of cooling aggressively, the temperature will rise by 1 degree Celsius every hour for up to a few hours, keeping the room comfortable without making you feel too cold. This feature is perfect for people who are sensitive to sudden changes in temperature or or who prefer a quieter environment while sleeping. It optimizes comfort by gradually adjusting the temperature without disturbing sleep. In heat mode, when you activate the sleep mode, the unit will not heat aggressively. Instead, it will gradually decrease the temperature by 1 degree Celsius per hour, making the room more comfortable without causing discomfort. For example, if you set the unit to 28 degrees Celsius, the sleep mode will gradually lower it to 27 degrees Celsius within the first hour, and continue adjusting the temperature slowly to ensure it remains comfortable. This function helps maintain warmth without overwhelming the room with excessive heat, providing a steady, comfortable environment for better rest or relaxation. The Follow Me function uses the remote control's sensor instead of the indoor unit sensor to detect the temperature and adjust accordingly. Here's how it works. When you activate this function by pressing the Set button and selecting the Follow Me option, the unit will disable its indoor sensors and start following the remote control's sensor. This ensures that the unit adjusts the temperature based on where the remote is placed. It's important to place the remote in a location that is not overly hot, as the unit will follow the remote's temperature reading. If the remote is in a very warm spot, the unit may interpret it as a high temperature, affecting the cooling-heating behavior. In cooling mode, the Follow Me function works, but it does not work in dry mode. In heating mode, the Follow Me function works, while in fan mode, it does not. Similarly, in auto mode, the Follow Me function works. The unit will continue following the remote sensor until you turn off the Follow Me function. This feature helps maintain the desired temperature at the location of the remote, offering more precise comfort based on where you are in the room. Now, let's talk about the function that allows you to control the fan speed. You can adjust the fan speed using various options, and as you use it, you'll get more familiar with how it works. Here's how it works. When you press the fan button, it will switch to auto mode. Remember, the fan speed is closely linked to the operation of the outdoor unit. If the fan is set to auto mode, the outdoor unit will operate accordingly. When you press the button again, the fan speed will change to 20%. This means that when the indoor fan speed slows down, the outdoor compressor speed will also change. Be careful when using this, as the fan speed affects the compressor's performance. Press the button again, and the fan speed will increase to 40%. As you adjust this, the compressor speed will change accordingly. If you long press the fan button, the unit will enter silent mode. This is perfect for when you want to sleep without any disturbance, as the unit will operate with very little noise. Next, let's talk about the swing function, which allows you to control the direction of the airflow. When you press the swing button, the air direction will be set to a vertical position. However, if you want to set the airflow to a specific point, you will need to keep pressing the button until the airflow reaches your desired position. In addition, if your unit has the option to provide airflow in the horizontal direction as well, you can achieve this by long pressing the swing button. You will notice that another option for horizontal airflow has now been activated, allowing you to control the direction of the air more precisely. The next function is the turbo mode. As the name suggests, this mode is designed to make the unit work at full speed. When I press the turbo button, a turbo mark will appear on the display. This indicates that the unit is now in turbo mode, and it will operate at its full capacity, aiming to reach the set temperature in the room as quickly as possible. The unit will work at its highest performance level to cool or heat the room. Now, let's talk about the breeze away function, and here's its button. When we press it, we can activate this function. Before that, take note that the airflow direction is set to vertical in auto mode, but as soon as I turn on the breeze away function, a mark will appear indicating that it's active. So what does breeze away do? When I activate it, the vertical airflow option will be deactivated. The indoor blower will move upwards, ensuring that the airflow does not blow directly onto your face. This helps avoid discomfort by preventing direct airflow on your body, making it a useful function for maintaining comfort while the unit is running. Next, let's talk about the child lock function. This function can be activated using the turbo and clean buttons together. Let me show you how it's done. When I press both buttons simultaneously, you'll see the lock mark appear on the display. This feature is designed to prevent any accidental changes to your remote settings. Once the child lock is activated, no matter which button you press, no changes will be made. The